I'm Ben Silverio.
And I'm Nicole Keating.
And I'm Ansel Burch.
And it's
time to party! Today's episode on the map
quack,
of tiny
quack,
perfect things was
quack,
recorded
quack,
on the 2nd
quack,
of
quack,
May,
quack,
2023.
quack,
We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly.
Damn it. I love the Mighty Ducks. I don't even like hockey that much. I just love the Mighty Ducks.
Okay, so that's the Nicole and Ben April Fool's episode.
Ducks fly together.
We need to find all of the plot inconsistencies and chalk them up to time travel.
Ducks fly together. Dicks tie together.
Dicks tie together.
Through rain, through shine, through snow, through sleet. Dicks tie together.
Oh, man.
Party people, welcome back.
I'm doing so bad at reining you both in.
I'm so sorry. Party people, welcome back to Time to Party, where Ansel is constantly annoyed at us.
That is not true.
If he was annoyed, he'd be doing a better job at rating.
I mean,
it.
probably.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's,
You're too charming.
That's a good point.
Like this movie.
Yeah.
Charming like this movie.
Aww.
But not sad.
Aww.
No, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little sad earlier. Still a little
I know.
sad, but...
You should be. You can be sad. Being sad
Yeah.
is okay. I love to cry, so this movie was great.
It comes for you in cycles.
It does. But yes, hopefully you checked out our first episode a couple weeks ago where we gave you some rules for drinking and smoking while watching this awesome movie on Prime Video
That
called
you are
The
totally
Map.
Gonna say correctly.
Totally am. Called The Map of Tiny Perfect Things.
That's the take I'm going to use for all the other times you fucked it up. I'm kidding.
That happened
I'm
a
kidding.
lot.
I'm
The
kidding.
small, tiny map of wee little things.
The wee baby Steven.
The wee baby map.
Christ. Fun fact, it's June 19th.
Happy Juneteenth,
Nice.
everybody.
Happy
Yeah.
Juneteenth. Celebrate it. Do it. Learn about it. Google it.
Do
Yeah.
it better than like the U.S. government or literally anybody that's probably currently trying to sell you Juneteenth themed products.
Turn away from the Juneteenth products.
The Juneteenth products always comedy
Unless-
gold, but also always racist.
Oh my god.
So I will let Black Twitter be entertaining me today. I hope you deliver. That's a promise.
Go support your favorite black actors, performers, all of them. We know a ton that are great,
That's true.
and they should all be supported.
And I'm really disappointed if they don't call themselves Blackters.
I will be honest, fun anecdote. Last year I was so pleased that I could not for the life of me manage to order from a black-owned business on Juneteenth.
Oh, good.
Because they were so
were
snowed
swamped,
with orders.
like, they-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I tried.
Speaking of white guilt,
I know,
everyone is
right?
like, take my money.
It was one of those things where it went around and somebody was like, "Yeah, make sure you buy your lunch from a black-owned business." I was like, "That's a great idea." Couldn't
do
for the
it.
life of me, and good for them.
Good for the.
I ended up eating a sandwich that I made myself.
Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for Miss Juneteenth, which is a real thing actually.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Miss Juneteenth, I believe so. There was actually a movie about it, and the mom that I would actually like to see, but I have not seen it yet because I'm sure it'll be dramatic because it's about a mother-daughter relationship.
Sure.
And it stars Nicole something from. She was the lead, the female lead on the Sleepy Hollow TV show that they did.
Oh God, that
Nicole
show was
Bahari,
good.
Nicole Bahari. And she's the mom, and like she was Miss Juneteenth when she was young, and now her daughter is running for Miss Juneteenth, and it's like she's bringing up all these feelings. So I know it's going to be dramatic about a mother and
That's
daughter
cool.
relationship.
That show was better than it needed to be. I'll say
Sleepy
that.
Hollow, I
Yeah.
agree. Oh, so yeah. Speaking of people I find hot, Nicole Bahari.
Oh, for sure. Ben, what did you end up picking?
All right. Well, what I ended up going with was the Rubik's Cube.
Ah, Mr. Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, because in the movie, Mark keeps trying to solve this Rubik's Cube throughout the various days that he's there. And finally, when he brings Margaret back to his room, she solves it in a few minutes. And he's just like, what the fuck? So that...
Once you know, it's not hard.
Yeah, I knew she was going to do that.
Yeah.
Also, I set my chess app on master.
How'd that go
Fuck
for
her.
you?
Nice.
She's too smart.
She is way too smart. So about Rubik's Cubes, fun fact. The Rubik's Cube was not invented by Erno Rubik.
Really?
It was first patented by Larry D. Nichols in March 1970.
Nichols' cube just didn't have the same ring.
Apparently.
It doesn't, actually. Nickel's Cube?
No.
Not as cool. And it wasn't a 3 by 3 by 3. It was a 2 by 2 by 2.
That sounds terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean...
What? Also, I hate puzzles. So I reject Rubik's Cube, so I'm really learning for the first time that they're 3 by 3.
I mean, the basic one is 3 by 3. They have other ones, too.
Yeah, you can go 4 by 4 all the way up to like
8,
yeah,
I think?
or 8 or 12.
12?
12 or something, yeah.
But, you know, Nichols was Canadian, so...
So he was just being nice.
Sure. And his was held together by magnets.
Oh, that's actually that's probably way easier.
Clever.
Probably
What is it
way
now?
easier
is it
to
just
make.
Like,
It was this
like a
whole
plastic twist?
it's a whole mechanism that Rubik really improved on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Every time I try to think about what the inside of a Rubik's Cube looks like, my brain breaks a little bit. Because, like, it's got to slide 4 different ways.
That's
and
very
still,
true.
like,
I literally never thought
every
about this
individual
because I
piece
don't
has
like
to...
these toys.
Like, how do they do that?
Yep. And Erno Rubik was the one who figured out how to do it. So originally, he worked at the Department of Interior Design at the Academy of Applied Arts and Crafts in Budapest.
I was just about to ask, what kind of name is Erno Rubik?
Yep, he Hungarian.
Yes, Hungarian, yes.
Um,
Budapest.
Yes. And even though originally it was reported that the Rubik's Cube was a tool to help students understand 3D objects, its actual purpose was solving the structural problems of the moving parts independently without the entire mechanism falling apart.
Yeah.
That was the whole deal.
Oh.
And he didn't even think of it as a puzzle. He was just thinking of it as like an exercise to
Just
solve
an
this
engineering challenge.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't until later when toy companies were just like, "Hey, that's a thing. That's
Cool,
a game."
That's
we
the OG fidget spinner.
can we get in on some of that? That's
Essentially, and back then, that's when it was known as the Magic Cube. They were first introduced in 1977, released in Budapest, and the interlocking pieces made it so that you couldn't pull them apart,
Right.
like Nichols' design. So
Okay,
Nichols
okay.
was just like falling apart all the time.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Because it was just 4 or
How many magnets?
8.
We're really
It'd
good
be
at
8
math.
cubes.
Yes.
Just held together with magnets.
The toy company that actually made the Rubik's Cube into what we know today, or at least the beginnings of it, was called Ideal Toys. They partnered with Rubik to distribute the puzzle worldwide. They wanted to have a better name to trademark because the Magic Cube is really generic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when they were just like, bro, your name's got to go on this. Because how many Rubiks do you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Hungary or here?
I mean, in worldwide, right? Like, not a very common name. So in 1980, that's when they picked Rubik's '(S) Cube. But before that, potential names were the Gordian Knot
Oh, that's good.
or the Inca Gold.
That feels a little racist.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
A little bit.
A little bit. Someone from Hungary shouldn't be calling something Inca. And also gold. I think we stole that. We meaning white people.
So the first major craze of the Rubik's Cube was from 1980 to 1982.
Oh, wow. That's short.
That short. I do want to note one more thing about Rubik's Cubes, and that part of my research involved all of the algorithms and strategies and the various handbooks that tell you how to solve them. But I could not make heads or tails of them.
Oh, I wish
No.
you'd said. My little brother got into speedrunning Rubik's Cubes a couple
Jesus
years ago.
Christ.
Really?
That's too
Oh my
much.
god, that guy.
That's some
I mean,
fucking-
he's a fucking laser engineer. Like,
Oh,
this,
well. So he is one of the 15 million worldwide Rubik's Cube sales. As of 2008.
absolutely. Yeah, he's at least 3 or 4 of those. Because he got the variant. We were talking about the number of cubes you can get.
Right.
He went up to like 8 or 12 or some shit. Like,
Jeez.
and then he just got bored. He was like, "Yeah, it's not hard enough anymore." So he just gave up on
Well,
it.
if he wants, he can go to Tennessee and solve the world's largest Rubik's Cube.
Oh, which is?
It's 100 faces.
No, it's a regular Rubik's Cube, just giant.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah. So you can use
You
the
have to have
same
strength.
principle.
same algorithm. You just
Yeah.
have to be very, very tall.
Very tall.
Yeah.
Tall and strong.
Sure.
Or have some kind of special tool.
He is
Like,
like 7 feet tall, so he
Paul
might be a
Bunyan,
good
you know?
candidate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's-
Paul Bunyan.
Just a
Bill
nightmare.
Bratsky.
Yeah.
To come
Bill
back to
Bratsky.
Saturday Night Live.
God damn it.
Did somebody say Bill Bratsky?
Jesus Christ. Nicole, what did you pick?
Dare I quote this movie when I say, you're a nerd who doesn't like math?
Present.
I picked The History of Math Class.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Cut back all the way long ago, black and white and or sepia tone. So we go back to the beginning of this country. Obviously everything is horrible and racist and smelly. But every single old-timey school in this country was just really focused on like literacy. Like, we need to teach you to read. That's the basic.
The great
That's
works
basic.
were the basis of.
Well, first it was literally just, we need to teach you to read, because nobody knows when people start. Like, there's no structure. You don't start school at a specific age. You basically just go to school when your parents want to send you to school, and you're not there if your parents don't want to send you there. So it was all just reading. We're going to teach you your ABCs. We're going to teach you literally how to sound out words. Very, very basic stuff. And then if you were a little bit more elite and you went to school longer and or consistently, you were taught, like, we're gonna actually like read books. And if they specifically thought that you were a college-bound asshole, which is I wrote college-bound asshole because anybody who went to college in the 1700s is guaranteed to be an asshole.
It's the hipster thing of the time. Have you heard about these colleges? It's a new thing. I realize.
It's a new thing.
Basically, it's what the people who go to Harvard now sound like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I mention that I've gone to Harvard?
I'm wearing a Harvard sweatshirt while you say that.
I was recently working at a building for like old people, and there was an 80-year-old man still trying to curry favor on the fact that he went to Harvard.
Sweet Jesus.
I was like, bro, that was so fucking long ago.
The only Harvard grad that I will give any leeway to is Conan O'Brien.
But he never brings it up.
I mean, that's probably part
That's
of
why
it.
it works. Yeah.
I didn't know he went to Harvard.
See? Yeah.
Because if you're successful, you don't need to bring up where you went to college.
I know.
Which is why I bring up Northwestern all the fucking time. Did you know? Purple and white. But yes, if you were a college-bound asshole, you read the classics. And it was all very focused on, like, you must learn your ancient Greek literature, you must learn your Shakespeare, because even back then, Shakespeare was considered, like, classical.
Yep.
And then good old Ben Franklin, our national treasure. I say that in big old quotes. In the 18th century, he was, like, on this crusade for, like, better education and better academics. I'm sure that a lot of other people were involved, but the source material that I read was literally from 1996.
Oh.
Because when you Google search history of mathematics education, there are histories of mathematics. There are current mathematics statistics about, like, what's going on now in the United States. But there are only 2 essays and, like, articles about the actual history of math in the US and this sort of education. One is from 2003 and is insanely long and is even more insanely, like, academically phrased and ridiculous. The other one is from 1996, which is the article we're referencing
There
today.
we
go. So I'm sure there were other people than Ben Franklin involved, but because this article is from 1996, they literally just quote Mr. Key on a kite chain.
I'm reminded of 1776 when he talks about how it'll only be Ben Franklin who smote the ground and rose George Washington fully formed on his horse.
Fucking shocking that he wasn't a president, because we really don't idolize anybody else like this in the U.S. We gotta memorize our presidents, and I fucking hate it. So again, I'm sure there were other people involved in this movement, but Ben Franklin is credited as the person who said, like, we need better academics. People need to come out into the world more learned. And so they were like, okay, fine. We'll start teaching, like, basic arithmetic. We'll start teaching, like, basic mechanics, like how to work a fucking screwdriver or whatever. So, big problem.
The Enlightenment.
Haha! The Enlightenment, the more you know. That was actually, that phrase dates back to the Enlightenment. That was their jingle and catchphrase.
Probably.
The more you know, with a rainbow.
Bum, bum, bum.
So the problem was that nobody knew enough math to teach math. Because they were like, oh, wait, we want to teach arithmetic in schools, except we haven't been teaching arithmetic in schools, so no one knows math to teach math. So then enter this guy, where did I put his name? Warren Colburn, and his first lessons in arithmetic. And this is like, if you're watching like an Anne of Green Gables, say, this is like the math book that they have.
The like green cover with like one
like gilded quote unquote letters, that not actual gold, just like gold template
paint,
font.
yeah.
They're like mathematics book. And this was very much a like, the system was like, we are literally just gonna teach you like basic memorization. 1 + 1 = 2. And you just have to memorize 1 + 1 = 2. Sounds a lot like how we memorize like our times tables and stuff like that. The only thing about this is that they didn't start teaching it until you were like 12 or 13. And by that time, your brain is getting a little bit more solid, and you're not like
taking in those fundamentals.
You're not taking in the information as well as you should. And so then Warren Colburn comes in and says, like, okay, we should not just teach 1 + 1 = 2. We should actually teach what addition means. I have one thing and another thing, and I put those things together, and that's two things. And that is what they called, literally back in the 1800s, new math.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So they rebranded New Math
later?
later?
New Math is twice.
New Math.
New Math.
Wait, so where is this taking place in the country right now? Is this all in Philadelphia? Is this all in... This is all on the East Coast?
It's in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is the first capital of this country.
Yes.
That is where Ben Franklin was hanging out when he wasn't in
where
France.
he was hanging out. Where is Warren Colburn from? We don't know. It's a mystery.
One of my favorite...
My article didn't say that.
One of my favorite fun facts about Ben Franklin is that he was an infamous womanizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and I'm just like...
History's greatest horn dog.
Yeah, and I'm like, this guy?
Oh, yeah. He had like a...
The kite and key got him far.
Ben Franklin could and did get it.
He did. that he did.
Warren Colburn.
What's the phrase?
Yeah, you're right. Massachusetts. So I think this is all probably on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because also like that's where all like the colleges, universities were, so it just makes sense.
I mean, we hadn't invented the rest of the country yet, so.
True.
And if by invented you mean stole?
Yeah,
correct.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
There were still
Got it.
people living there doing their
Great, I
own
love
thing that we hadn't
stealing.
fucked with.
I'm the world's greatest gleeper, if you didn't know. That's an Arthur reference? Arthur the Aardvark?
Oh,
AARDVARK.
AARDVARK.
That is how I remember how to spell aardvark.
So he's got this concept of like, we can teach you like the actual operations as opposed and like why we're doing this as opposed to just memorizing your times tables, as opposed to just memorizing 1 + 1 = 2. And then that's kind of fucking it for the rest of the 1800s.
Sweet
because
Jesus.
I know. Summary of this story: education in America is really depressing.
I'm glad it got better as it went on.
I mean, a little.
Kind of.
It didn't.
Because a lot of the things that we're talking about is literally like, remember memorizing your times tables in second grade? That's it. That's it. You kind of understand why you're multiplying these things, but then you just memorize the times tables, and that's your understanding.
Wow.
That's your understanding of math.
So as a math person, do you understand the current iteration of new math? New Math 2.0?
New math?
The new math?
I hate it. Well, no. So there's like, technically what we all learned in school is new math. But then
Really?
yes.
Yes.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
now there's a new math. A new math.
And it's
Times
like
3.
And it's
Yeah.
like this like conceptual piece of bullshit where it's like we're gonna tell kids stories about various things that are supposed to allow
It does
them
make
to...
sense. It just doesn't make sense to us because we didn't learn it that way. Like
Huh.
the new way that they're teaching math, Common Core math, I think is what they're actually calling it.
Oh, good. They expanded their adjectives.
Yeah. It really does work. Like it's really cunning if you give it the time.
So how do they teach it?
So it's more about process than it is about like we learned long division, right? And when you do long division, you have to go, okay, all right. So I'm gonna move this number over here, and I'm gonna move this number over here, and then I'm gonna like work my way down through it. They're packaging into subsets. So they're doing their tens, then their hundreds, then they're mathing it out by learning to logically look at the number in sets based upon their
interesting.
Yeah, based upon their like
Interesting.
factors of 10 or 12 or
That-
16 or
that's
whatever.
pretty sophisticated.
It's
actually.
really
Like,
smart, and the way they've done it is that they figured out how to like package that for little kids, so that by the
Yeah.
time they're learning arithmetic, ain't no thing to like, oh yeah,
That's
factors of 16, no problem. Here we go.
very sophisticated thinking.
Now, is this the way that China and Japan have been teaching math?
Probably.
forever?
I don't know.
Because, like, I remember when I was younger, it was always like China and Japan are like surpassing our test scores,
they
and they're
always
doing
had the
better.
Best. They
and-
always had the best scores
because they were learning things differently than we were.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is the same method that we finally caught up to.
It's
and now
certainly-
they're doing something different that makes them better.
Yeah, it certainly could be. My understanding of the methodology in China and Japan, granted, I mean, I was in Ohio, so it was probably pretty racist, whatever they were telling me. But my
know those
understanding was
Asians
that
are great at
it was
math.
more on the like the rote drilling method.
Okay.
Which, I mean, honestly, that fucking shit dates back to 1726.
Yeah, it produces
that's-
results as long as you're not looking for consistent.
That is
like,
how we started teaching math in this country, and it seems like it's what we're still doing.
It's what we taught everything.
And so the it was sort of the philosophy behind it was like, we're not teaching math for any real purposes. We're just teaching math because like it's a good way to discipline the mind. Mm-hmm. And it literally wasn't until fucking Sputnik in 1957 when the United States was like,
Oh, fuck, we gotta get these dum-dums to space.
exactly. Math might be good for the progression of fucking society.
They were like, oh man, we only found 12 people who can do math. We're gonna have to step this shit up.
But did they know that it was 12 people, or could we not count that high? I don't know.
Well, the
Who
toes
did the
and fingers
calculation
stop
to
at
figure
10.
out? Yeah.
And so then there's new math, the
Yeah.
one before the one we're talking about now, which was based on the fact that like these two people did a survey of the United States, and literally everybody was like, I don't use math in my life. It's literally just what I hand in cash. Or if they were really, really like on the upper ends of business, they sort of understood how money worked. So if you understood how money worked, you kind of understood arithmetic. But they were like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
We should actually teach people like how things work, like algebra, like geometry. We should maybe have something more advanced beyond arithmetic. That was in 1957. And guess what? Flash fucking forward to 2023, and the only information available about the history of teaching mathematics in the United States is what we're doing now, which sounds a lot like what we were doing in 1957. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, we live in America.
Oh, I would be curious to know what the trajectory was like in other places. Because,
Me too.
I mean,
what was Rubix learning?
Yeah,
Rubik.
what was what was Hungary's situation like?
I will also say that I also thought Rubik's Cube was Rubix for a really long time.
It is.
I mean, that's the brand.
That's how it's branded.
Oh, that's
But
the brand.
he
Okay, his
is with a K.
It was
with a K, okay.
Rubik's K with apostrophe S, I think, until like the 90s or something.
Until they sold it to a
Hasbro?
I think so.
Yeah.
Of course, Hasbro.
When we were kids, it was K apostrophe S.
Yeah,
I'm
like
pretty
what
sure.
were they learning? Why were all the Russian kids in my high school so fucking smart? Like, what the fuck were they learning?
Because they were sending shit to space, my friend.
They were sending shit to space before we were even like, oh, maybe math is a good idea.
And I mean, looking at the state of teaching and education in this country now, they don't even want to tell you about fucking
anything.
Anything.
They don't want to tell you that racism ever existed in this country, let alone still exists.
I mean, they certainly.
Why would they want to give you the tools to go to space?
They certainly won't tell you that we beat the Russians to space by borrowing Nazis.
The Browns didn't make it to Hill Valley. Before then, they were the Von Brauns.
Oh my God, there it is.
Well
All right.
quoted,
I'm not
sir.
saying
Well
that Doc
quoted.
Brown was a Nazi.
No.
No, Doc Brown is a
But
good
his
person.
parents probably
I mean,
were.
his,
Yeah,
his
his
uncle,
parents.
maybe?
Definitely.
Grandparents.
For show. Yeah.
He is here by the grace of the United States government forgiving some Germans.
Yeah.
Great Scott.
Me too. No, not actually.
Oh,
You can find us on the internet.
Well, first, I do want to say that teachers should get paid more.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're putting up with all this shit.
All this shit that
The
Nicole
stu-
just talked about, and then the modern day shit, and just teachers have to put up with so much, and they do not get appreciated for it. Pay them more.
And support them. Like, not just pay them, but also, like, put the shit in the classroom that they need.
I know.
The fact that they're buying their own goddamn tissues is criminal.
Ridiculous.
So wild.
I substitute taught high school theater for 3 months while a friend of mine was on maternity leave, and she
Sounds
was like,
awful.
It was great because it had an end date.
Oh, good. Okay.
But
There is that.
the starting salary should be $100,000. Yeah. And I was a fucking substitute. Like, the people who were like had to deal with like the unions, and I was a substitute arts teacher, so like we had a later quote unquote call time is what I called it. But we had a later call time than all the other teachers. All the other teachers had to be there at like fucking 7.
Yeah, those motherfuckers are up early.
Jesus Christ, I don't know how they do it.
There's no reason to be up before 9 a.m.
Respect your
Ever.
fucking teachers. Respect your fucking teachers, man.
I mean,
Well,
without
maybe if they don't.
without great teachers, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Same.
You know, like a few years ago, I want to say last year, maybe the year before, the teacher who really influenced me to explore being a writer, he passed away. His name
God.
was Ed Mooney.
Ooh,
and he
that's
was
a good
Good name, yeah.
Great
Yeah.
name for an English teacher, right?
It's a great name for anything. Like
Absolutely.
that's a character name.
Superhero.
That's
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
character name. He introduced me to things like the Dead Poet Society
the
and
Dead
E.E.
Poets Sorority.
Cummings and just so much stuff. And
Nice.
it's, I mean, like, sure, he still taught that Romeo and Juliet movie that is problematic now, but
Oh, but only like it's a good movie until you know that they filmed that scene.
yes.
But
Wait, what?
But he didn't know about that back then.
Oh, the Romeo and Juliet movie, the Zeffirelli.
The one they show in high school typically.
They didn't. He didn't tell them they were going to be naked. He just was like, "Why don't you take off your clothes, etc. It would be so much
Yep.
more believable, etc." And then like Olivia, what's her name, was like, Okay, fine. And he was like, no, we won't show anything on camera, but then you see her boobies.
And now every high school kid has to get
her boobies.
Yeah.
And I think, and both of them actually have recently filed like I don't know if it was a lawsuit or something, but they've recently, both of them have come out saying like this was not consensual and weird. Which I appreciate that it was both of them.
Yeah.
And I like that they're in this together.
Absolutely.
So that's one positive thing.
Yeah.
About this.
Oof.
But also the Met Gala was Karl Lagerfeld themed, and he said he'd had enough of the Me Too movement.
Oh my god. The important things to take away from this episode of Time to Party is that you should appreciate your teachers. They should get paid more, and Rubik's Cubes are fun.
Yeah.
And math class.
And math is good.
I love math.
I'm so bad at math. When they said that quote in the movie, I was just like, wow, called out.
Oh, you're a nerd who's bad at math?
Oh, yeah, I'm so bad at math.
Same.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm lucky I can do my books.
I have a person.
So
Me too. And I can't do my bit.
when I went into college, I had been pre-accepted into this honors math program at Northwestern without even applying.
It's not fair that you're hot and smart. What's going on?
Thank you. I also have frizzy hair like the girl in this movie. I'm also breaking out like I am in fucking high school. So really on theme movie. Really on theme. But no, I was accepted into this honors math program, and I was like so excited because my other career path was astrophysicist, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna double major in math and theater, etc. This class was at 9 a.m. on the other side of campus. Nope. My freshman year.
Nope.
I literally fucking dropped out before midterms. Oh, also the professor had the thickest Russian accent I've ever heard in my fucking life, and I'm from fucking Skokie, so that is thick, and so I couldn't understand him while he was teaching, and so I had to go home and just spend so much time with my math textbook, and I was like, I'm here for the physics, man. I'm here for space.
Yeah.
This is too much. I am not passionate enough about math to deal with all this bullshit and also be up at 9 a.m. on the other side of campus.
I barely took classes that were at 10 a.m. in the basement of the building where I lived.
That's impressive.
9 a.m. across campus was not happening.
My acting class started at fucking 8:30, and I'm still...
Are you serious?
I had a
still
9
salty about that.
Most of my film classes started in the afternoon.
Because they know what they're doing.
Or when it was dark already.
No, we started that early because my teacher is an actor at Remy Bumpo, and their rehearsals started at 1 p.m. So his classes had to be done, all the classes that he taught had to be done by noon.
I remember one quarter we had 2 film studies classes back to back. I was in the movie theater for 8 hours basically.
Jesus
wow.
It was fucking nuts.
The one good thing about having an acting class that early is that when we all got out, the theater building is next to the student union, and so we all went to the student union to get some kind of breakfast, and we got out at the exact same time that Maury was starting. God. We all went to the student union and watched Maury together. You are the father. You are.
R.I.P. Jerry Springer.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
it just happened.
Midwest icon, Jerry Springer.
Well, party people, we hope you learned something this week on Time to Party. We certainly threw a lot at you. Maybe you want to go solve a Rubik's Cube. Maybe you want to solve basic algebra.
Maybe you want to be mayor of Cincinnati.
Maybe you want to do that too.
No, you don't.
You might be doing a better job than the current one.
I mean,
Yes.
It wouldn't be hard.
Probably. Probably.
So while you figure out what you want to do with your life.
Wow.
Wow. I sound like Mark's dad.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Let's
I don't
talk
want to do
about our
that.
future.
No, you don't. You don't. Take your time. Future's way away.
No matter what happens, your future will still be there for you.
Oh.
Dude, the fucking mom's last words about your life and being you've had everything and it cost you everything. I'm gonna puke. It's so sad and beautiful.
Oh my god.
Map of tiny, small, perfect, beautiful, small things. Like cats.
You can find us on the internet. I'm at Silverio20 on Instagram, Twitter, and Hive.
I'm at the Fake Geek Girl on all the platforms.
I am at Indecisionist on Twitter and at The Indecisionist on Instagram.
You can join the conversation by using the hashtag #Time2Party. That's time, the number 2 party.
And time the number 2 party, all spelled out. Special thanks to April Moralba for our podcast art and to Marlon Longett of Marlon and the Shakes for our amazing theme song. This has been an Indecisionist production. Visit indecisionist.com/time2party, that's time the number 2 party, for back episodes and transcripts of all of our episodes in season 3.
Party people, that does it for another episode of Time to Party. We'll be back eventually with another movie.
Yep.
With another one of our great friends.
Next week, the bloopers episode, gonna be real robust. Just a heads up on that.
You're welcome. Until then, remember all the good stuff that we talked about. Remember math. Remember Rubik's Cube.
Remember how important math is. And teachers.
And teachers.
Oh, yes.
Pay
most
your
importantly,
teachers.
Remember teachers.
Absolutely. While you're remembering teachers, I also want you to be excellent to each other.
And party on.